Recently, my video about Saltire motorcycles in Edinburgh dealership closing down had some fantastic comments, some which I want to mention in this video here. So if you left a comment on that video, you may be getting mentioned here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a background video of me riding my bike, and I'm going to read your comments and put in my little my 10 pence into it as well. Okay, so I'll read the comments. Hold on. Let's just listen to that. Okay. We'll start again. Oh, wait a minute. I'm gonna start now. Wait. Let me just do this now. Nope. Okay, we'll put the volume down of that. We'll just have that running in the background here. So first comment, which I've got here, is from Ogassi, or 1798. He says, looking from the outside, this appears easily as too many irons in the fire. You covered it at the start with all the dealers they had that and that and that and that and this. Okay, so they had Zero, I think it was Zero, Energica maybe, they had Royal Enfield, KTM, Indian, they had the Cafe, Biker B&B, the training school. They had quite a lot, yeah. That was a lot to cover. The building was huge. Yes, it was huge, so you think there might have been economies of scale by going huge. And this floor space required to hold XXXXX amount of bikes is clearly looking to sink anything that is not super strong. Possibly, yes. So it's the bigger you get, possibly the faster you can fall from a bad sales, but also means the faster you can grow whenever there is a lot of sales going on. It's just not a very easy thing to dynamically change the size of your area, I guess. Damn shame, but like others, it seems way too big to survive without real sales numbers. So certainly 2024 has been a shocker for the sales numbers for all motorbike manufacturers, it seems like. And yeah, so that's a real kind of good point. Is it a case of sometimes the bigger you are, the quicker you fall? You would have thought it would have been the other way around, but maybe that's where the smaller, more independent small dealerships are able to survive, because they're, all they need is a couple £1,000 a month to actually survive, and they might not even be giving themselves a salary, which actually might be something I'll mention in somebody else's comment going on there as well. Two comments here. First one from Edward William Morris, 1340. Simple point, motorcycles are too expensive now that they're only for the rich. Overpriced bikes remain unsold and shops are closing. Child Izzy 6633 says, it's a shame, but youngsters are not interested in bikes anymore. So yeah, that is very much a definite possibility. One of the best people to get advice or introspection on that is bike trainers. So if you are a bike instructor, motorcycle instructor, they'll be the people that will be able to give you the best kind of information on that. What there did seem to be kind of a boost of bike training going on. A lot of people getting their CBTs, and that kind of came down to the from what I gather, came down to the zero 0 hours contracts of jobs like Deliveroo or Uber Eats. So a lot of people kind of going, oh, I just need a scooter to get around town, or a motorbike to get around town, or a lot of people now are doing electric pedal bicycles now. But so the kind of increase in people getting training on their CBTs didn't actually translate to an increase in people actually doing their full bike license. Partly because to do the full bike license is, one, it's nerve-wracking, two, it's expensive, and three, it takes a long period of time. You need to, not only do you need to have around about £1,000 for the week's worth of training, the two different lessons, or two different tests. This was it Mod 1, your Mod 2, and also pay for getting to and from your if you're having to do your theory test as well for that. So yeah, it becomes a very expensive thing. I think the theory test was only something maybe like £100 and something, but you're still going to think, wait a minute, I've got to take time off work to go do it. I've got to go travel into the city where they actually do the tests. And if you live out in the country, it's another. You might as well just take the day off work. Same with the training, so it's about a week's worth of training. So you kind of got to take a week off work or split that between 2 separate weeks. And then the day of the actual test, you can't really be doing a job or an exam or something on either day, either test. Because of the amount of stress that you'd be under, the lack of sleep and all that kind of stuff. So that's another 2 days off work. So you've got to think, yeah, you're going to be missing out on like a week's worth of work. The cost of all the training, the cost of the test, the cost of getting to the places. You'll most likely be using an instructor's bike and their insurance and all that kind of stuff. So that's where the price comes up. So you can see, you can really see why youngsters kind of go, why am I going to put myself through all this stress when I can just get a 125, and that's all I'm doing around the city centre, and you can make money with a 125, just a CBT test or CBT training. So yeah, it definitely does seem like youngsters are not interested in bikes anymore. They're interested in the sound. Certainly when I drive past people, they're always like, that's cool, do a rev bomb, but in general, yeah, I agree. Steve O Alt 70 says, this is what happens when the core biker audience is in their 50s. Now, I've seen that in a few different locations. Now, the stats for this can be very much manipulated. I'll explain that in a second. So it says the average UK rider is 54. We need more younger people to take over. The younger crowd don't really like cruisers, it's not their style. I can't disagree with that. What I can add to that is the statistics of the age. So I suspect how they actually got that number is it might have been from the DVLA, from the number of people up getting their licenses changed and all that kind of stuff, but the amount of this number might be underreported because it might include people that are only done their CBT. So the amount of people that have gone, I need a CBT, like what I said last time, because I'm doing Deliveroo, I'm doing short-term trips, I just want a little motorbike, that'd be quite fun. Which, not that I would say they're not real bikers, but they might just be people that are doing it for they're not building the motorcycle scene in any sort of way. They're not going to be spending their hard-earned cash on luxury goods like the rest of the motorbike community. So that may, and it's usually the younger folk that can't get insurance on bigger bikes and all that kind of stuff. So that biker audience of in their 50s or 54, I think might even be older than that. If you take out all the people that have only done a CBT, that are only riding motorbikes so they can do fast Deliveroos or zero-time contract hours, I think, the core biker audience, I think it might be even older than 54. So yeah, that's not a good time for that. Okay, I'll go into next comment we've got here. Graham Newman, MQ7GR, says, your observations, comments are 100% correct. Thank you very much. Most motorcycle dealerships are in a similar situation, if they are honest. To keep... there is no market for the gross oversupply of too expensive two-wheelers. Look at the second-hand stock, not moving too expensive for the market. Okay, well, I'll try. Okay, my reading's not the best, but this writing is making it a little bit more difficult here as well. There is no market for the gross oversupply of too expensive two-wheelers. Look at the second-hand stock, not moving either, I will say. Too expensive for the market. Younger people do not want motorcycles, and us old ones are dying out. So, yeah, possibly that definitely is the case. Finances certainly have people's general spending ability have reduced over the last 10 years significantly in comparison to the level of inflation. The UK is in a cost of living crisis. The old ones dying out. Yes, they are. That's what happens with old age. I would also say that the amount of kind of Facebook groups or channels that I watch of people crashing their motorbike, or a few kind of motorcycle lawyer Facebook pages that I watch and all that stuff. The amount of motorcycle crashes that put the willies into just even going out for a ride, and the sheer hassle of dealing with even a small minor insurance claim, a minor bump, is ball-breakingly horrible. That you can see why people in the younger, not even the younger demographic, but the ones which have jobs that do stuff, that are fully employed, the sheer risk to lifestyle by being either slightly injured or not even being injured, but just having to deal with an insurance claim on a motorbike that will put up probably your car insurance, your house insurance, your motorbike insurance will be through the roof. The cost to you, even if you're not at fault, is horrific. That, again, it doesn't really promote the idea of motorcycling for anybody that's, not making less, if you're making less than £60,000 a year, a motorcycle is a huge investment or a huge cost to your daily life. It's a very expensive hobby, and not only are the bikes expensive, the maintenance is expensive, the insurance is expensive, and if you ever have a bump, I suspect if you have one bump or one injury on it, give up. The prices will just be too much for you going forward for the rest of your life. Michael Lilly 6725 says, it's such a shame that dealers such as this are going under. I never visited Saltire, but was a regular visitor to their online site. I've come really close to buying a few of their second-hand machines, then opted for other bikes. More recently, I had my heart set on a new Chieftain Sport and was just waiting for the new model to hit the showroom floor. Now I'm rather glad I hadn't invested heavily into that, given the situation. This is actually a conversation I was having with somebody just the other day as well. Just like, how screwed must you be? Because one of the bits of advice I kind of think is like, if you're going to buy a motorbike, buy a bike where you're close to the dealership, or you're close to a place that's able to do the servicing and all that kind of stuff. So for people like myself living in Edinburgh, we're pretty lucky because we've got Honda in Edinburgh, we have Harley Davidson, we've got Kawasaki in Edinburgh, we've got Triumph in Edinburgh, all good. And just outside Edinburgh, if you go into Fife, you've got Suzuki, another Kawasaki, Yamaha, all that kind of stuff. So we've got a lot of stuff kind of fairly close by for Edinburgh. So if you ever need a service, it's not more than a 40-minute ride anywhere. However, I'm not too sure what happens now for people that bought Indian motorbikes. I think there might be one down in Carlisle, but you're talking about a good 2 hours worth of trip to get there and back and all that kind of stuff. So, and if you're having to do it in wintertime and bad weather, that's not going to be fun. There's I suspect there might be very much a business opportunity for somebody who is a registered mechanic to do house visits, maybe, to like say I can service your bike for you and I can come to your house, and the amount of money somebody would save from having to take a day off to go all the way down somewhere and get it booked in for a service, you can just have a mechanic rock up to your door. That's a business plan going on there. So yeah, those who have bought Indians, that's got to be a massive bollock, and I suspect anybody thinking of buying bikes anywhere else, definitely something thinking about. If your company is going to go into administration, where do you get it serviced, especially if you want to keep the warranty. Okay, next one. James Hardy, 62777, says, new pricing is simply insane. Add the idiots that use never deals to think they can afford a new bike is another reason for this looming disaster. I don't know what that means. Never deals to think they can afford a new bike is another reason. I don't know what that means. I'm not 100% sure there. So James says, I bought a brand new 2008 Aprilia RSV4, I'm guessing factory, for £9,000. I reckon you could sell that bike just now for about £9,000 again. Fast forward to 2024, the new RSV4 factory is over £26,000. Just under a threefold increase in 16 years. Wages, salaries have barely changed in that time. So, you're right. You're spot on right. Wages have barely increased in that time. The government loves to say, salaries have gone up by 2% here, 2% there. But inflation has gone up by, 10% last year, 12% the year before that, and then before COVID it was like around about 3-4%. So 3% on top of 3%, on top of 3%, on top of 10%, on top of 12%, on top of wherever it is just now. The cumulative inflation amount possibly isn't too far away. So that 9,000 could easily be 100% inflation in 16 years. I think that's probably not too far off. If you talk about real inflation as well, not government. So there is two different types of inflation. There's what government advertises, like consumer inflation or producer price index inflation and all that kind of stuff. However, there is also a site where you can look up, I can't remember what it's called, it's like realinflation.com, real numbers. And that tells you what the actual real inflation in the UK is. Check out. And so whenever I think the government is saying, we're down to 3% inflation just now. Real inflation is actually still around about 7 or 8%, on top of last year's 13%, when the government said, we're down to 10%, on top of the year before that, about 18%, when the government said, we're really high up at 12. We're like, no, we're actually almost double that. So if you look up real inflation statistics, not government consumer price index related, because they can really manipulate the numbers a lot on that. So but at the same time, salaries have not increased anywhere near the amount that's required to keep up with inflation. So damn right there, James. That's a shocker. Okay, next one. Craig C1101. Council rates are mad here. We are downsizing part of a unit to save money here. Wonder how Honda Two Wheels and Triumph are getting on. So in Edinburgh, there's a motorbike shop called Two Wheels, which has both Honda and Triumph inside the building, and a service department, and a motorcycle helmet and gear department as well. Still there from when they went to the primary school. From when I went to the primary school across from it. People are moving out of Edinburgh as business rates and units are like half the rent. Yeah, so Edinburgh rental prices are really bad, really expensive. I was looking at places. My thought was like, I could open up a bike storage place to have a motorbike and hide it from my wife. And so here's what I found out while trying to do that. Finding places, it's very difficult to buy any places. Rental is very expensive. There's a unit in a kind of car area just outside Edinburgh, and this was outside of Edinburgh in Broxburn, and they were asking for a rental of £30,000 a year. I was like, that's quite expensive. I don't know how that would financially work out. But then there's the council rates on top, which were, I can't remember how much, but it was going to be about another, I think it was around about another £12,000 a year on top for the rates. And annoyingly, the local businesses or the owner of the actual land had certain stipulations of how many motor trade companies can actually work there due to noise restrictions and regulations, all that stuff. So even if you find a place that you think you could afford or that you would be happy to pay the money for, you may not be allowed to because the owner might still say no because you might have a vehicle that makes noise there. And especially in Edinburgh, where you'll have a lot of, NIMBYs saying, oh no, you can't have a place there, people are riding their bikes here because they'll make noise and they'll... Not in my backyard, NIMBYs. So trying to start a business in Edinburgh is just ball-achingly difficult. Unless you own your own farm, your own land, and you've got your own warehouse and you can set up without having to deal with the council and all that kind of stuff. Trying to set up a business without already having a guaranteed income of 60 grand a year to cover the basics, it's just not happening. So the council are screwing over businesses, the landowners are screwing over businesses, the community guidelines and rules are screwing over businesses as well. So it's the UK certainly does not feel like an entrepreneurial promoting country in any sort of way. Very much restricting in every sort of way. Okay, next one. Sorry, ranty Mick rants a lot over. Okay, Trevster65. I wonder if that means you're 65 years old. Sad to see, but unfortunately, massive dealer outlets are vulnerable to reducing demand of large stock of second-hand bikes. So Saltire certainly had some second-hand bikes. However, they really got rid of their second-hand bikes in the last year. Like, I'd be popping in and I'm like, where are all their bikes? It was just all KTM. So the staff must have been told, don't bring on any new bikes. Anyway, the only business model I can see working is for dealers to allow customers to sell their bikes in their showrooms and take a percentage of the sale as a fee or a fixed fee. That's interesting. I like that. I wonder if some places already do that. I'm not too sure. So Trevster. Yes, that's a perfectly acceptable idea, I think. I'm sure somebody was doing that at Saltire, because when I was in there, I remember speaking to Levi, the head guy. He had this ridiculous Harley Davidson with this massive front wheel, which was huge and all. It was like a showstopper motorbike. I think the front wheel was almost up to like my chest height. It was so cool. And they're trying to sell that for, I don't know, £40,000 or something. But then the owner took it back. So that must have been the case that they were just holding it in there until it was sold. They obviously hadn't bought it off him. So there definitely are different practices going on there. If anybody's in the trade, is this something which is frowned upon, or is there a danger of it? Or because what I do know is that businesses do have to pay insurance on the amount of stuff that they have on their showroom floor. So that's where it might come to a bit of an issue. It's like, hey, yeah, we'll sell your bike, and we'll take a fee of it, but depending on how much their company is already insured for, they might be kind of going, we don't want to, I don't know. There's definitely issues there of having a bike on their premises which they don't own being insured on their I don't know. There's definitely business reasons why that probably isn't more common than I suspect, because I think the rest is all kind of like, part exchange or maybe even cash in hand. Anyway, so Trevster says that way they don't own the bike and they don't have cash tied up in it while they wait for buyers. This is not good for... Oh, bollocks, don't do the next bit. Don't click to read more. Oh, okay. But yeah, Trevster, if anybody see Trevster's comment, put some love on that one down below. But yeah, I think that's interesting concept. Jimmy Mac 9388 says, sorry to see them go, but I wonder if they knew it was coming for a while. On my last visit, a few months before the announcement, I was surprised to find just one salesman in the big showroom downstairs. It made me wonder. Okay. Usually when I was down there, there was two. There used to always be somebody down there always taking in what do you call it? Just like phone calls for people that were doing their CBT and all that kind of stuff. Again, if it's a quiet year, they definitely might have just been having one salesman on at a time. But more salesmen don't necessarily mean more bike sales. Also, it could easily be done over the phone. The amount of bike sales that might be getting done over the phone, you could easily stay at home, pass the phone call through to Bobby at home, say, hey, somebody's interested in this bike, can you give me the finance details, and they can deal with that. I mean, you only need one person actually in the shop dealing with it. If a lot of your phone calls, or it'd be booking into, I don't know, but number of salesmen probably isn't that important in the actual showroom. But as I said earlier, I think they might have known it for a while, or they might have been advised, or they might have been told that they don't have a budget to take on people's second-hand bikes as stock. So because there definitely did seem to be very little second-hand stock in the property. I thought it was just because it was summer and nobody wants to sell their bike during the summer, but it definitely seemed less than the years that I'd been in there before. So good point, Jimmy Mac. Next comment from Cecil Wilson. It'll be a bad thing for the community as motorcycles are great for mental health. That's a comment which I might go further on just now. Certainly in the... I won't do it just now, but I will do it in another video. Just now in the UK there's quite a lot about assisted suicide, or assisted death, or assisted dying, or whatever it is, assisted life. There's a thought, motorbikes... Oh, if you're going to go in a blaze of fire on the motorbike, it might be a way to go. Anyway, I'm not going down that chat just now. Truth now is stuff is too expensive, and most people are not buying £10,000 plus bikes to ride for a couple of days a week. True. My two are a 2006 GSXR 1000, nice, and an SV 1000. Be doing me fine from Northern Ireland. So, yeah, again, I think the motorcycle industry in the UK is very different from, or the community is very different from that in other countries, especially when I've been on holiday and have flown over to somewhere like Spain or France or Andorra, one where their roads are great, their weather's fantastic, the amount of motorbikes and scooters, and also the lack of much less crime as well, the amount of absolute rats that we see stealing motorbikes, hacking away at bike locks and all that stuff to steal bikes right in the city centre and all that kind of stuff. It's just horrific that I do not feel safe leaving my bike at any point in the city centre. People that I see commuting on their bikes, I'm just like, how are you feeling confident? And how did you get insurance for that as well? So spending £10,000 plus on a bike that you're using for fun, for enjoyment, for mental health, is a lot of money for something which you don't get to ride as often as you would as in comparison to another country. However, what I would say, in other countries that's not the same. So in Spain, where the roads are good and the weather's good, and even in winter time, I was going skiing in Andorra, the amount of bikes that I saw on a dry sunny day, people just going out on their bike. I mean, yeah, granted it's only like 8-9 degrees Celsius, but it was just a lovely place to ride. In Scotland, 8-9 degrees, it's probably still a 90 mile an hour wind somewhere and dangerous to ride on, and leaves on the ground. To be able to ride in the UK is fantastic when you can, but it's so limited that there's just not enough people getting into it, and it's a hard thing to really promote to other people to do compared to other people in the past. Cecil, good point. Okay, next one. From Caledonian Biker, says, very well and tastefully put together video, thank you very much. I've been around long enough to see dealerships come and go, but I reckon now, due to the industry having changed so much recently, more will fall and never be replaced. It's a sinking ship with less and less bikers year on year. Yep. More will fall or fail. I think certainly the outlook isn't looking promising, and the fact that I'm hearing somebody saying like Harley Davidsons are closing and all that kind of stuff, like they should have enough money to keep their places going. That shouldn't be an issue. So yikes, Caledonia Biker. It is pretty sad. Gary Powell R6S. Bikes are and have been for a while too expensive. People are being squeezed by all. Toys are the first thing to be dumped. So I think that's So for motorbikes are considered to be a luxury good, a toy, a mental health crutch to have. Thing to make you feel good. If you're not using it for commuting, and you're buying a serious, expensive toy for fun, not many people have that. And if finances are getting squeezed by anybody because maybe one partner in the house has lost a job, or even if you're just moving job, or you're moving house, or you're moving house to keep with a job, then keeping a 13, 15, 20,000 pound motorbike sitting in your garage doing nothing is a lot of pent up cash that you could be selling and getting on with using that money for other things. So yeah, definitely true there. Okay, Andrew W. Hamilton has got a big comment here, and I'll go into this one. So he says, my sympathy lies with the creditors. Now this is something which I didn't mention and nobody else has mentioned in the comments below as well. Some of whom are small businesses and one-man bands we won't see a penny from the administrators. So that's a good point. And certainly in that Saltire business, they were micro businesses inside the bigger business. So the Biker B&B, JT's Cafe, I think the training school might have been a separate business as well. In fact, hold on, I should just carry on reading the comment. Saltire was run like a hobby instead of a serious business. It completely lost its focus over time by introducing niche brands. Certainly the electric bikes downstairs are pretty niche, I guess. A cafe, I don't think a cafe is a bad thing to have inside the place. And I don't think they were paying for the cafe. I'm sure the cafe was paying rent to Saltire. So that, I'd go again. A barbershop, didn't see a barbershop, but if that was there, that is a bit of an odd one. And I seem to recall they had a tattooist in now and then. That's an interesting, didn't know that either. Certainly not when I was in there. I never got a tattoo while I was in there. It turned into a pretendy lifestyle type business. Well, is that not what motorbikes are trying to sell? Unless if you're not selling a commuter bike to just get to and from work, you are selling a lifestyle. Is that the whole kind of, or a lifestyle, or a look, or a style? Okay, a lifestyle type business. Always trying to sell you what they thought you needed rather than what you actually needed. Bike dealers in East Central Scotland are all shite. I'm surprised any of them are still in business given the standard of service they provide. Okay, Andrew, got a strong opinion there. Bike dealers in East Central Scotland are all shite. Okay. Okay, but the question is, so the point that you're putting there, it completely lost its focus over time by introducing niche brands. Were those niche brands brought in because they were struggling with the sales of their non-niche brands, and they thought by bringing in a couple of bikes from a certain different company and all that stuff, would that have boosted sales, brought in more footfall? A person that's on I think it was a motorbike company called Zero. If you're on a Zero and there's nowhere for you to buy a Zero motorbike anywhere, but if you could go down to Saltire and go, oh yeah, I can look at the next bike. Oh, while I'm here, I'll go get some new motorcycle gloves, or a new helmet, or a new jacket. Is it all about the footfall? The more brands, the more things you have, the more potential footfall that you have, the more potential quick sales that you might have. I don't know. It's certainly something which a business advisor is best to advise on that one. But not being focused and being focused has its pros and cons, I guess, and it's all about depending on the size of the business, I guess. Okay, coming to the last couple here. Cornell 1001 says motorcycle license is too difficult to obtain. Even CBT, compulsory basic test in the UK, start to become a mockery. Okay, they should send the bill to the DVLA. In the UK, you can spend 1 hour and not see a motorbike on the road. Yes, especially in wintertime. But to that point, that anytime I am riding my bike and I see another biker, the biker wave I'm giving is bigger and stronger than it's ever been in the past, because I'm looking at any other biker just now going, you're one of the few, you're still going for it, well done, double salute to you, fellow biker. Still never salute to anybody that's on a scooter, unless it's a cool retro scooter. But if you're on like a I don't know, a scooter, mobility, yeah, no salute to you guys, no biker wave to you guys, unless it's a cool Vespa kind of thing. Vespa things, you get double salutes, because especially if you're on a Vespa kind of thing, or like a 125 and you don't have an L plate. Oh, legend. Anyway, going a bit off piece there, right? Sorry. Last one. Biker Nav BM says, long time biker here. I think though there are reasonably priced bikes to buy, and more are coming. So the Chinese. So okay, he's a long time biker. He thinks there are reasonably priced bikes to buy, and more are coming. The Chinese ones. They have become too complex and expensive to run, service, repair for both buyers and manufacturers are to blame. Of course, here in the UK, people are becoming less wealthy every day. Oh my god, this guy's just kind of saying exactly what I just said. People are becoming less wealthy every day, so toys are becoming less and less accessible. The Chinese bikes will likely mitigate this a bit in the short term, at least, but the biking experience will change as it always has, but less will be involved until electric becomes viable. Ooh, we could open a can of worms on electric. 2 big dealers down my way just gone down. So they're just gone bust. And they are part of a bigger group. Another big outfitter appears to be downsizing. The whole UK industry needs to take a look at itself and quickly see the incoming threats. I think the incoming threats are... Oh, wait, good point. What are the incoming threats? So there are more threats? More threats than crap weather, crap roads, increased insurance, difficulty of actually obtaining a license, chances of losing your license because our bikes are so powerful, and the police and the ANPR, automatic number, if you're speeding and all that kind of stuff, and the ULEZ threats, the amount of places that are saying you can't ride anything that's not a Euro 15 emissions kind of stuff. So the point I would say is we're kind of needing the Chinese. The Chinese with their false economy and giving people bikes for way under market price, or production costs, flooding the market. That's what we kind of need to keep bikers on the road, I guess. I don't know. But what are the incoming threats? There are more incoming. There's more. What the hell? Holy crap. If we're not being absolutely shafted so far, and the UK industry is seeing more threats, apart from like more tax and more legislation that's negative to people having any sort of freedom. I don't know. Biker Nav BM. You've left me with a terrifying comment. Thanks a lot, Nav. No, Biker Nav. So yeah, I'll leave that here. So that's the comments which I thought were fantastic. So thank you very much for putting all them. And feel free to go back onto that video. I'll put the link to it down below if you want to read these people's comments as well, and all the other ones. Or if you've got anything that you want to add into this video, feel free to comment down below and let me know if you agree or disagree, or if you've got any further advice of what the bloody further incoming threats are. Yikes. Anyway, if you're a rider, well done. You'll get a double salute from me when I'm out. Okay, thanks for watching, guys. Cheers. Bye-bye.